they get El Chapo
They're
yet?
alive now.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, did they get him yet?
I'd like to call this meeting to order. The Porter Town Council, please rise and follow in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Trina, would you call the roll, please?
Kelly Karaman. Here. Bill Lopez.
Here.
James Burge.
Here.
Don Kraft.
Here.
Laura Madigan. Here.
President accounted for. We'll move on to consideration of claims and sewer adjustments.
I make motion to approve claims and sewer adjustments.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions regarding the claims and sewer adjustments? Hearing none, all in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to petitions and comments from the floor. If there's anybody here like to bring something forth to the council, please step up. State your name and address for the record. Tell us what's on your mind.
My name's Linda Brelsma, and I live at 111 Franklin Street in Porter. And I have lots of questions about this ordinance that, as far as restricting the semi-traffic on Lincoln. Mostly, it's the fact that for safety purposes, you're going to restrict it, but only in that area. And it's by a type of vehicle. You're not restricting those vehicles anyplace else in town. And just in my one block of Franklin Street, I have 15 school-age kids in one block. And we have semis that come down that street all the time. And you're restricting them only because, well, they can only go on the street if they're making deliveries or pickups from those businesses or residences. They don't pick up and deliver off the street, they come down the alley. So I don't understand, and also the more dangerous part is the fact that we have traffic, people that park in contrary to the ordinance that we already have. Those pose more of a safety issue than the trucks do. And also, where are the trucks going to go?
So the way the ordinance is written, it says that they're not allowed to use Lincoln Street.
Yes,
So currently there's truck traffic comes down Wagner, down Lincoln Street,
yes,
and then over the tracks. So that truck traffic would be rerouted to 49 to Woodlawn.
what is the weight limit on Woodlawn?
It's acceptable, isn't it?
It's acceptable for trucks, Indian Boundary, Woodlawn, and
And what happens if the
Sierra
town
Road,
of Chesterton decides that they don't want Woodlawn used as a truck route?
They can choose their own truck route. They can choose whatever they want.
Right. So.
Well, because Woodlawn is half Porter, half Chesterton.
Right.
If they decide they don't want trucks on there, then how are the trucks coming into Porter going to get to Porter?
The trucks that come into Porter,
Yes.
deliver to Porter, town of Porter businesses,
Yes.
come into the town of Porter however they need to, the most direct route. What we're trying to do is stop semi-trucks from using the town of Porter as a cut through from Route 20 to town of Chesterton businesses, because it's not a shortcut or cut through. Right now, Franklin Street is not and has never been a truck route. Why you've got semis on there is a different story.
Well, that's
from
well.
this-
Well, I'm
this
letting
ordinance.
you
I would
know
like to have that
I'm letting you know a
conversation.
reality.
Yeah.
Not just, this isn't made up. I mean, we have semis that deliver all the time and they go through the alley. The alley's not rated for over 5 ton. But that's where they deliver, and they are full-size semi-trucks. Not just the ones coming from across through there. They're delivering here, but they come all the way through. I've talked to people that live on Beam Street. They have trucks that come Francis Street and try to turn onto Beam Street and get stuck there. How is that going to stop? That's not addressed in this ordinance. And that's my concern, is that it is not addressed. And like I said, in my one block, I have 15 school-age kids and 2 that are under the age of 2. And those kids aren't going to stop. And we have people that walk their kids down the middle of the street all the time. And if there's semis, I mean, the semis that we have is too much right now, but it's not being stopped. And is this ordinance going to be just like the parking ordinances where they're nuisance ordinances and somebody has to complain about it in order for it to be taken care of? We have signs up that state that there's no parking on Pleasant Street, but guess what? There's cars parked right in front of the sign. And that's not being taken care of. So I don't see that this ordinance as written is really going to cause any increase in safety in the
It will
town
address
at all.
one of the list of problems, and I thank you for bringing,
And I hope
Your
that you don't
specific
pass it
street.
as written, because
So-
that's a very limited space to limit that type of truck.
I'm not sure I understand the.
You're only limiting that type of truck to Lincoln Street from Wagner to Waverly. You're not limiting semis throughout the town or throughout the neighborhoods.
This is an amendment to an already existing ordinance. The larger piece of that ordinance does address all that.
All
longer
of the
list
other
things.
roads.
It does.
They only address it by weight.
And weight, there are two ways. One of them is a list of streets and the other one is by weight, and
Gr-
they're all in the
But it does not,
larger
but it does
body
not
of
list the
ordinance.
type of truck, and that's my concern. Those do not list the semi trucks. They list it by weight. But you're specifically stating if they're loaded or not, they can't go on Lincoln. But if they're loaded or not, there's still a big truck that can't stop when there's kids present or when anybody is present.
Right, I understand that. I'm not arguing against
So-
that issue of
So
yours.
as
But my
written,
question
I
to
don't
you
think
I
that-
want to ask
Yes.
is,
See what
what
Laura's explaining.
trucks are coming through on Franklin Street? Are they for deliveries to the businesses on Lincoln just through the alley?
No, they're
side?
also, they're
Or
also.
Are they cutting through Porter to get to other locations?
Well, I wouldn't know that part of
Yeah.
it because I'm not following the truck, but they deliver to Zip Food Store. They delivered, we have trucks that park on Wagner to deliver to the businesses. And so there, I mean, as far as there's ordinances say there's no parking on Wagner, but then there's another part of the ordinance that states there's 15-minute parking in that same spot
Mhm.
for semi trucks where there's no passing zone. And so, but these are full-size semis. These aren't just panel trucks. They're full-size semis that are loaded and they're coming down every day. They come down there. And you're not going to be stopping them because you're stopping them on Lincoln. You're not going to stop them from coming on Franklin. You're not going to stop them from going on
You're
Beam
absolutely
Street.
correct. I hope that you understand that the problem that you're bringing to us today, right now, was not the thing that we were trying to solve with this ordinance. This ordinance is designed, or this amendment is just, it's not even an amendment. It's enforcing an ordinance that was established in 2008.
Yes.
But that just hasn't been enforced for the last 20
And,
years.
and I'm seeing that this is going to create more problems instead of lessening them.
Can you give me one new problem that this will create?
Yeah, more semis coming down these roads because they can't go on Lincoln. So now the semis will be turning onto the other roads.
Yeah,
sorry?
This doesn't give them
They're not being stopped, but based on the type of truck that it is, you are not limiting those on those roads. You have load limits. You do not have type of vehicle in your ordinance.
Beam, Howe, Mineral Springs, Oak Hill, Old Porter, Waverly, Maine, Helm, Tremont.
They have 5-ton load limits.
Okay.
It does not state no semis.
So you just want it to be no semis?
It does not state no semis. So the semis will not be going down Lincoln. Now they'll find the more direct route, which will not be Lincoln. It will be one of the residential roads. Yes, it will.
That's not our intent. That's not
I
our-
understand that it's not your intent, but that's how it's written.
And it will be illegal then too.
Well,
It's gonna be enforced
then
by the
enforce it.
police.
I know. Our,
Then enforce it.
that's what we're trying to do.
Is there anybody else like to bring something forth to the council? Hearing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting and move on to reports. Clerk Treasurer, Corinne?
I just have one reminder that our public hearing on the 2027 budget will be scheduled and held on September 22nd with the adoption hearing at the following council meeting on October 13th. I have a lot of work to do to get everything prepared over the next couple weeks, so spreadsheets are coming your way, but it's in progress, so.
All right, thank you, Corinne. Yes, I know you've been busy with many things on top of the budget. Attorney report, anything, Christopher?
No, nothing to update.
Thank you. Police Department, Chief Dickey?
Yeah, the only thing I have is, as of 7:01, kind of a conclusion, a synopsis of what occurred today. I apologize, I haven't been able to do a social media post. Everything was unfolding so quickly. But at approximately 1:40 p.m. today, Porter PD and surrounding agencies were advised that a federal agent was transporting a prisoner who had jumped out of the vehicle during transport on 94, pretty much directly behind ATS trucking in the Shelton firework area. Numerous officers responded to the area, including Indiana State Police, Lake County Aviation, Chesterton PD, and Burns Harbor PD. I'm sure there were others. I would like to give a kudos to Chesterton PD and their SROs. As soon as this all unfolded, they had an SRO on site at Yoast and had a soft lockdown in place just to make sure everybody was safe. Going through my notes here, give me 1 second. Like I said, I will be doing a social media post here in a little bit after the meeting, and as of about 7 o'clock, that person was taken into custody. So there's no,
Oh, the person was apprehended then?
Yep.
Very good.
and that is all that I have.
We can all sleep safe tonight.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep, thank you. Where was, can I ask where it was apprehended at? Was it,
Sounds like very close to where we were searching, which was
so
extremely
he was just kind of
thick brush.
laying in
Very,
the
very
weeds
thick.
and?
Yep. Very thick brush, so.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
Yep.
Fire Department, Chief Craig.
Just to have a few things, I wanted to run through my official update from the storm and commend some of my volunteers. Starting Tuesday at 11 a.m. when the storm hit to 3 p.m. on Monday afternoon, we responded to a total of 75 calls for service. The majority, or 20, I think it was 20 or 21 of those calls was Tuesday during the height or following the height of the storm. Immediately following the storm, a 3-man crew was sent out in our rescue truck to do whatever they could to assist clearing roadways with tree debris. They were sent with some chainsaws and some tow ropes. They did work on a few spots, but most spots they had found that the public works had already gotten to or were wrapped in power lines and they weren't able to help. They were primarily trying to clear primary routes to primary areas such as Porter Cove and to the north, but we found most of those trees were wrapped up in power lines or fiber lines that we couldn't touch. We did assist Portage with a structure fire during that time. I want to commend that crew. They were the first fire engine that was able to put water on that. That was the house explosion that I'm sure everybody saw. The Portage engines and crews were coming from the south side of the city where we entered from the north. Again, commending that crew. They realized they wouldn't be able to make it front entry to the house, so they were creative. They found a fire hydrant a street over, connected the fire engine to the fire hydrant, and laid approximately 600 feet of hose through somebody's garage, out their back door, through their fence, through another backyard, and were able to get a hand line onto the fire. While the Portage community came together and removed the trees that had the fire engines blocked for Portage until they could get to the actual physical dispatched address. So good job to those guys for being creative and following through and getting a good job done. After that was all said and done, we ended up sending the rescue truck with 2 volunteers to Portage to assist with some of their non-priority calls to help clear those off. I think at one point in time, there was like 175 calls pending for service throughout the county, and the majority of those were in Portage. So those 2 volunteers were over there. They were chasing gas leaks, helping close out those calls primarily. During the height of the storm, or as the storm was hitting and shortly after the tornado sirens went off, everybody that was at the visitor center was advised they had to evacuate the visitor center, and they gave them the option of our station. So right before the storm hit and as the storm was first hitting, we had approximately 25 people that came to the station for a safe housing. That ranged in ages from just a couple months old to retired folks. We had people from South Africa, Italy, Texas, Indianapolis, and Minneapolis, that hung out with us, ate some of the leftover snacks from the 5K. The kids colored us some pictures, and sheltered in place there until the storm left. And I even had them, I didn't have them, but I gave them the option to hang out a little while to let some roads clear up and stuff and traffic clear through before they left. Some really great people, and so we're happy to give them a safe haven. The only issue that we came up with from all of that was our generator did have some mechanical issues starting Monday morning. So that is currently in the process of waiting on parts to troubleshoot to see how bad that is. Hopefully it's the simple parts that we have ordered will fix it. So we're still waiting on that. So our generator is down on the station currently. We can run it if we have to open doors, but we can't run it constantly to power the station for a long period of time. Staffing station, this is volunteers only. This does not count the part-time staff that was there through the storm and through the rest of the week. There's a total of 9 different people that spent time on station. Again, I want to give the kudos to Captain Belisle, who spent a total of 66.5 hours at the station. Lieutenant George Vargas, who was at 66 hours. Firefighter Mariah Towner, who was at 49.75 hours. She also purchased a meal for everybody there one day. Amanda Suku, who spent a total of 20 hours, who also did lots of cooking for the crews that were there. Austin Trapez, who spent 19.75 hours, who we're estimating, because he won't tell us, spent upwards of $200 purchasing food, and his lovely wife making us meals and desserts. So shout out to them. Stephen Davis, who had 29 hours, and then everybody else, Josh Murray at 6, Stephen Harris at 6, John Jarker at 6. So shout out to all of them that came down. That was a total of 269 hours of volunteer time that was spent, of man hours manning the station during that, would have been Tuesday at 11 till Sunday at, I think they left around 8, 9 o'clock on Sunday evening. So that's my update on all of that. We had pump testing at the station today. All 3, the engine, the ladder, and the tanker, all passed pump testing with no issues. And ladder testing, annual ladder testing is tomorrow. Getting all of our annual testing done. And I think that is everything I have. You don't have any questions?
I don't have any questions for Chief.
I just want to say thank you to all the volunteers and yourself, Jay. You guys did an amazing job. And also, obviously, they deserve some kudos right now, but I might suggest also doing something for them at your annual meeting.
Yes. So they all deserve huge pats on the back. And that was all unsolicited. We were so busy, I wasn't even thinking station staffing, because at every moment of the day, I had 3 to 6 people there. So at one point in time, we were running 2 trucks, 2 fully staffed trucks. But when we did have Wagner's that the community brought in food also on top of all of that food. We did run the ladder truck on its first call during all of that, with having to go to as far as potentially Michigan City to get diesel fuel with the fuel pumps down. Although nobody had power and fuel locally, as we were working on getting that here. We got the engine to under its 3/4. 3/4 is our mark for always topping off the engine off the truck. So we switched all the needed equipment from the engine to the ladder truck, ran the ladder truck on some calls. keep that kind of fuel even, so we didn't drain one truck. And then we did have to make some trips to, I think as far as we had to end up going at that point was 520 and 20 there. Because by the time we had to fill, the crisis of it all had kind of come down, and we were going late at night, so the lines weren't as bad, so we didn't have huge delays and all of that. But the guys on station kept good track of all of that. And their spirits kept up. We had some nights that went till I think 2 a.m., 2:30 in the morning because we were running calls. We did a couple assist the citizens that we helped with setting up generators and running pumps. You know, the Gemma's called me. I love those guys, and she was in a bit of a panic, so we were over there I think at 9, 10 o'clock at night running a sump pump for her, and a few other assists out there for stuff like that. So a great big kudos to my people that never complained once. They got a little irritable towards the end, but they never complained, and they took it with a grain of salt, and they just kept charging forward. So I have some of the greatest people there is that work for us or volunteer with us. So just huge shout out to them.
We appreciate the job they do for us, Jay. We do.
Thank you.
That's it?
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Public Works Department, John.
Hello, everyone. It's been a rough one. It's gonna be a rough one. We did take possession of the mini excavator today. Took it out for a little bit on Porter Cove to get some of the piles off the grassways. It's easier for the loader to pick up stuff. Brought it back to the shop. It's gonna be a long time to get everything back in place. Our trucks are way too small for what we're dealing with. The brush truck's doing fine, but our single axles aren't made for what we're doing with them. We need bigger trucks for this purpose, but this is gonna be a long time. We've had our typical guy stand on the corner and yell at us about his brush, but he got told today. So we're hoping to be out of Porter Cove tomorrow and get back downtown and res and stuff. So they're trying, working hard. I mean, so with the event of the storm, we need to. Jamie told me to bring this up. We need to kind of move forward on the vac truck and maybe second generator for towing to keep the one we have because it's 88.
Right.
There's a few questionable moments the night of the storm. We had a brand new generator, lost a pulley on the alternator that went down, so we were dealing with that on top of the pumping and stuff. So unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of time picking up like Chesterton did. And I want to explain this to any residents watching. Chesterton had out of town help because they've sent in their crews to Valpo, Warsaw when they had storms and they didn't. I would say that's something that our town should get a little bit more involved with. That there's an area that's close by that we send a couple of guys, maybe a brush truck if we don't have purpose for our brush truck for a day or two, to kind of help out. It's kind of a mutual aid thing to other places. It really pans out. It worked well for Chesterton, even though they're a bigger area. That Warsaw crew came in and really helped them out, which is awesome. So, I mean, I'd like to see the council agreeing upon, us doing kind of a mutual aid if we have the manpower, the staffing in our department, stuff like that. But right now we are doing the best we can. We're back to 8-hour days. The guys are a little disappointed about that. So, but they're plugging away. They're doing the best they can. They're working hard. Like I said, the storm kind of woke up some of the things for our needs versus our wants. So, I mean,
For sure.
yeah, so we have a couple of demos coming for vacs and stuff like that to see what's out to offer right now. So, looking forward to getting the mini eventually to the ditches and stuff to kind of please some of the stormwater stuff related. So, but we'll get there.
So the mini excavator has been driven around. You guys are testing it out and gonna get started on some of those projects.
Yeah, probably in winter because we're
Probably in
probably
winter.
picking up
'Cause
brush
right
in
now
the
we're
fall
still too
and
busy
with
picking up
leaves.
brush.
Yeah, so there's some small projects that have been bounced around, with Mike and some other things that we can do. Right now, basically all of our guys are strictly on storm debris cleanup. Until then,
Sure.
I mean, we're pulling a guy off just the most our lot in Lincoln Street, and it's like, yeah, we can't get to the ditch mowing yet just because we don't have no manpower at this point.
Mm.
So
Okay.
we're trying to work it all in, but yeah, we're looking forward to using the brush head and all that stuff. So maybe take some relief off Mike's phone call.
So last month, right before the storm, we had talked about maybe diverting some of our capital priorities for the Public Works Department away from a chopper pump upgrade annually to a generator upgrade for the lift stations, right? It just seemed, and then of course, you know, nature showed us that that was probably the way that we should be going. But when I asked Jamie about another portable generator, and when I say portable generator, I don't want the public to think that this is the kind of generator that you buy for $700 at Lowe's and put outside your garage to run your sump pump and freezer. This is, you know, a designated generator with its own like truck trailer that's in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $80,000, right? That we drive around to power these lift stations when the power's out, right? I asked, well, what if we just got another portable generator? And what Jamie said to me was that we don't have the crews to run two generators at the same time. So are we talking about that maybe not being so true, and we could run two of them at the same, take two of them around town to run around? Or are you talking about replacing that portable generator with a new portable generator?
So this storm here, unfortunately, we had a lift station taken out. We had
Yeah.
two subcontractor vac trucks out, which was costly.
Yeah.
Plus our vac truck, plus the generators.
Mhm.
So we were still, 23rd Street was taking almost 2 hours to pump down because it's on one pump right now.
Yeah.
Good news is pumps coming within 30 days to go back in there, so we have two pumps. So you're still looking at an hour 30 for each lift station to go down. Worthington was pegged out every time we went out there, no matter how fast, all weekend long they're running the line out there. It's pegged out at 10. I mean, it's huge out there. Wood Lake a couple of times. So yes and no. So if we had another storm like we just had, we all in staff. A lot of us guys did 24 hours the first night. I mean, so we had to send guys home to get that 12-hour rotation in. So we can technically, instead of wearing out that vac truck, we can take two behind generators and, you know, split north to south, or, you know, divide the lift stations in half. We would really like to see lift stations at our generators at the lift stations, because that takes away. We're not saying all of them. We have Worthington, Cardinal. It's hard to back down Cardinal in the dark with a big generator on there. Thanks to Porter County Emergency Management, they volunteered us a generator. It was bigger than our truck. So we didn't want to back that down Cardinal. So it would be nice to get some standby generators if funding, or however you can float a couple in, or one, you know. I would start off with the throwable generator, and maybe if we can funnel a stationary into one of the bigger lift stations, which would be like Worthington, Cardinal, 23rd Street, even at David at some point. David's a newer lift station, and it has a lot of flow in there, so it would be nice eventually to see those things. So, but can we wait for some until they're actually upgraded? It was an expensive storm, so.
It was a very expensive
But,
storm.
you know,
Okay.
so.
So did Jamie ask you to come here tonight with a specific request that gets approved tonight, or just making sure that everybody's aware of how important of a priority this needs to be? We know that Jamie's working with Victor, and I believe you, to put together an evaluation of all of the lift stations that we currently have, their conditions, which ones are highest priority for generators or
Yep,
pump,
so,
or chopper pumps, right?
Yep.
So that we expect that to be available and have a sit down within the next couple of weeks. Is that right?
yeah, Jamie, so Larry's doing this so great.
Larry,
Larry's done
sorry,
it in
not
a
Victor,
year
Larry.
and like 4 months
Yeah.
of retirement. So he's putting together the list of the pump stuff. Jamie told me he has to have it by the end of next week, because
end of
Jamie's
next
gone
week.
this week. So
Yep.
just because then he wants to set up a meeting with everybody to get it going. So,
Okay.
I mean, Jamie did say the generators, everybody's on board with it. Like, yeah, if we can work
Okay.
it in, it's great.
Okay.
So, and anything that's built outside this date, like new lift stations, automatic. Our closest Generac repairman was 2 hours from here. So it was a little stressful that night with the new generator going down. So,
Right. Okay.
but yeah, no, he just had mentioned at the meeting. We have reached out for budgetary quotes to kind of see what we're looking at.
Sure.
So, I mean, we haven't asked for no hard numbers. We still have a few other vendors that are bringing vac trucks in, and we're trying to not do the electronic vac trucks, because that's where you start running into problems with all electronics being out in the wet and stuff. So, we demoed 2 and got 2 more coming, so we should try to see what we're looking at. So, but
Right.
other than that, we do thank all the other departments for the help, though. It was nice. And Brian, thanks for Joe and Angel. If you ever wanna fire him, we'll take Joe.
It's gonna be a bidding war now for Jill. All right, thanks so much, Don. Thank you.
I had a question.
Yeah,
for
Jim,
John.
go ahead, sure.
John, I had a question as far as with the volume of debris from the storm. What would be your best just guesstimate as far as how many weeks, month, whatever you think it'll take to get through, to get all that without adding any more from future storms?
Right, yeah, we're kinda nervous about tomorrow. They're going for about, so.
Hopefully it misses us, but.
PTSD.
Yeah, so we realistically, I'm gonna say in there 3 weeks before we officially can say we're done with this storm. Tuesday at 10:35 was the last dump from the last storm, and then 11:01, the doors about got blown off the garage at the shop. So
I saw you. Can I just interject? So Tuesday morning on the 11th, I was up making coffee and I look out my front window and I see Public Works out there at 6:20 in the morning picking up the brush that was in my neighborhood left from the previous storm. And I was like, all right, they're finishing up. And it's so early in the morning. By the time my alarm went off at 7, they were already done with my neighborhood and off. And I was like, that's awesome. 6 hours later, everything was destroyed. It was awful.
yeah, so but like I said, we thank everybody, Mr. Brian's crew and fire department, police department, and to the Public Works guys. They're doing amazing. I mean, they say they're doing it for residents. I don't think they're doing it for me because they don't want to hear me. So.
Well, one thought I had, you had mentioned like mutual aid or other, there's a city or town that's not too far away that may have both people and or equipment that might be able to come and help us. Would it be anything we'd even want to entertain of dipping into our rainy day fund for like a week's worth of labor to pay someone to help, so we could shrink that maybe from 3 weeks or 4 weeks to maybe a week and a half? I don't know. I'm just off the top of my head throwing out a what if you had extra manpower and they could bring an extra truck or two. Is it worth it, or is it just worth it to ride it
I
out?
would say ride it out right now. Unless we get hit with something again, I mean, we're definitely gonna have to call. I mean, we're gonna need help. There's no way that we'll be able to make anything up. We have had some local business owners willing to come work part-time for us to drive a truck that's qualified or whatever. At this point, all of our trucks are running, so it's kind of like, well, we need to bring a truck too, you know? So, but I think if we can get to Porter Cove tomorrow, I can get that brush truck back in the Thursday into downtown, and then send the dump trucks up to the res again, and then work up north. And I think we'll be all right. It's just, you know, it's in my mind, I'm wired different. So I'm like, let's go, we get it done. Where they're like, hey man, slow down. You know, so reality is it's not gonna be done today. So, but no, they're doing the best. I'd like to see at least another week before we like really jump ship and say, hey, we need to bring
Okay.
more people in. If we were to bring something in, I would say semi dump with an operator. You know, rent somebody's big truck. And we at this point we're halfway through Porter Cove, so I really now don't think we need it unless we get hit again. So I mean, I have high hopes, and I think they're on track. I mean, their track, my track's a little fast, so but they're doing good. So I think if we get out Porter Cove tomorrow, we'll be fine rest of the way.
Okay.
So he'll cut all the trees down in his neighborhood, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to say too, you know, we appreciate you being here and the job you did and all your crew. And I told Jamie, I told him, you know, it's not as critical now. So just make sure everyone continues to work safe and steady. That's what we need. You know, I mean, it'll get done. You're probably going to be going back in some spots because, you know, I still see people that haven't cleared the trees. You know, there's still broken trees hanging off, you know, near houses and stuff. So,
Yep.
so it's going to be ongoing for a while.
Yeah.
I was hoping that we were going to get some help from the National Guard or something. That sounded like it was going to happen, but it doesn't appear to be happening or anything.
When I took that generator back to emergency management, he said, yeah, don't count on it. So
Yeah,
in my mind, I was like, oh, we better get working then. So yeah, he was just like, don't count on it.
Thrown out there that we were going to get some help, and
Yeah.
it doesn't appear to be. So
It
we're
was just
still
the
looking
fact
at.
that Lake County got hit so much worse than we.
Yep.
Well, I think between that and then what was going on in the southern part of the state simultaneously too, with the massive flooding they were dealing with down there and everything. Yeah. So it was just the perfect storm.
We'll get to it.
So, but yeah, you guys are doing a great job. And remind them just steady and safe.
Yep. I told them let the equipment do the work, not their backs. So
Yeah.
Stay safe.
All right, thank you. Park Department, Brian.
Got one announcement and one request. The announcement is the Dunlin seniors are holding their annual health fair, which is free to the community tomorrow, starting at 11 o'clock until 1 o'clock at the community building at Hawthorne Park. Again, that's free and open to the community. You don't have to be a senior to take advantage of the health screenings that they've got, vendors, and all sorts of good information out there. So again, that's tomorrow from 11 to 1 at the community building. And then my request is I would like to put together a quote package with a hierarchy of the most urgent to the least urgent of the 9 trees that were impacted at Hawthorne Park as part of the storm. These are trees that they're showing signs of decline, or we lost a big chunk of them, and there's another big chunk that hopefully don't go anywhere tomorrow. So, and they're large enough that it's not something that we can, or Public Works, with the help of Public Works and the bucket truck, can take care of. It's something though. These are pro jobs. So, I was looking for approval to put together a package that we could put out to potential tree companies, and we can rank those 9 trees of which is the worst and most precarious down to it can wait a little bit, and then see what type of pricing we get back. And I'd sent this out. We've got an emergency response text thread. This is something that Corinne said lit funding could be used for, so.
Yeah, I'd entertain a motion for Brian to get quotes to remove the trees that are precariously damaged or need to be taken out.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion, second. Any questions regarding the motion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you very much. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Brian. Building Commissioner, Director of Development, Michael.
In item 1, 12 contractors for approval who have filled out their forms, met all the requirements.
Look for a motion to approve the 12 new contractors.
I'll make the motion. I'll second that.
Motion is second. Any questions for Mike regarding that? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Our 2026 CCMG project is completed and closed out. I'm going to be meeting with Avonmarsh tomorrow to put together the list of streets for next year's paving. That's down further in new business for the task order. We've got the upstairs HVAC was replaced, and he's going to start on the downstairs one shortly. I have to get the right day so we have one in and one more to go, and we'll have those finished. I did see some locates for NIPSCO on both Mineral Springs Road and North Bailey, because we're waiting for NIPSCO to get North Bailey's wire changed out so that we can do our pump upgrade. And the other one was Mineral Springs, which Porter County's waiting for them to string wire and replace a pole so they can finish the bridge. They only have a few days worth of work left to do on the bridge, but they're waiting for the NIPSCO upgrade. So they seem to have gotten past enough of the storm. They can now do that. So I'm hoping by the next meeting that we're open or close to open on the bridge. So I'll keep you updated on that. That's all I got for the moment.
All right. Any questions for Mike? All right, thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Move on to old business. First thing on the agenda was ordinance 2026-11, an ordinance amending chapter 66, article 6, of the Portertown Code to restrict semi-traffic on Lincoln Street. This is the second reading. We had a discussion at our previous meeting regarding it, and Kelly and I and Michael separately met with Mr. Bell to discuss this further. And I feel that my opinion hasn't changed. I feel we need to move forward with and take action by passing the ordinance. So I look for a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-11.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
A motion, a second. Is there any discussion regarding ordinance 2026-11?
Well, I have some comments. Kelly, did you want to start?
You can start. I love it.
So I wanted to start off by addressing Mr. Bell's correspondence to us over the last week. Thank you for the correspondence. And I've been thinking a lot about how to phrase this. I feel like you're coming from a position where you feel like this is nothing personal against LA Bell Trucking, right? Like none of us up here have a problem with your business. We appreciate that the business exists and that you and your truck drivers have always been so careful and conscientious while traveling through the town, right? Like, I don't want to give the impression that any of this is punitive, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but your business was started in 66? 67? And so, that's the way I see the history. We went back a couple of years ago when we first met with you about this, is that there has been a long history of the town of Porter having a pretty firm position on semi-trucks or trucks over 5 tons traveling through town, and it's local delivery only. There's a stack of meeting minutes over the years, old ordinances that have been passed, comments from concerned residents about the safety, and it's never been a question that local government in the town of Porter has only ever wanted to allow semi-trucks in town that are doing business in town for local deliveries only. And your father had a huge influence in this town for quite a long time. Huge influence, right? And he benefited from that. His business benefited from that for a very long time. And I think that that's wonderful. But in my opinion, allowing an exception for trucks to use the town of Porter as a cut through to deliver to Chesterton is not something that the town has ever intended to allow in perpetuity. In 2008, the council members decided the same thing that we're deciding tonight. It just was discussed again and paused and then came to the same decision. And the paperwork, unfortunately, has never been crystal clear. And I'm sorry, ma'am, I forgot your last name, Ms. I'm sorry?
It's Linda.
Linda. Thank you, Linda. A long list of people coming into town halls saying a lot of very similar things to what Linda came here to say tonight. And so 2 years ago, we decided to replace the lights downtown and the poles, and that, the downtown master plan, we cannot afford to just give the town a complete and total revamp, right? But every now and then we've got money where we say, hey, we can do this part of this plan. We can do this part. When we replaced the street lights, one of them was down and had been down for quite a while. Nobody says they know exactly which truck hit it, but everybody says, yeah, it's because the semi can't make that corner, and clipped it and knocked it down. So, that's what brought this conversation back up, is when are we going to get the trucks off of Lincoln Street? And so that project was why this conversation came about 2 years ago. I feel like, we've tried to listen, we've tried to be friendly neighbors, we've tried to come to compromises, and this is just where we're left today. So I guess I just wanted to throw out a little bit of that history and say, I really hope that you don't take this decision personally. It really doesn't have anything to do with you.
I'm sorry if you feel that way, and if I made you, I don't feel that way.
Okay, good. I'm not saying that you made me feel that way. I was just like,
No,
man,
I'm
like
just-
this guy, like, I'm sorry, man. It's not about, like, you're a nice guy. I don't want to try to, you know, we're not, it's just, we got, and to your point, Linda, Franklin is included on the list. Semis are defined as trucks over 5 tons, but it sounds like we have some more work to do on enforcement. So we'll have another conversation over these next few weeks on how we're going to take the enforcement of that and try to prioritize that more. And if there's anything that you feel like you can help us with information-wise, we'd be happy to hear from you. Because you're right about enforcement on that specific issue, not.
The ordinance, the addition to the ordinance, I have a copy of the current ordinance and it is strictly by weight. And the new ordinance that we're adding is only for that portion of Lincoln Street. It's very specific in there and it's only for the semis. Those semis are not restricted. Again, if something is empty, it is still a semi and a huge vehicle. And it is not restricted as long as it's under 5 ton from going on any of the load limits that are 5 ton. And that's why, as written, I think that you're causing more safety issues than leaving it as it is. And also, we do have it designated in the last board meeting, it was stated that Porter doesn't have a designated truck route. There's a sign at the corner of Lincoln and Wagner. It states that there's a truck route.
I know that's part of the problem. That's why I say, like, it doesn't all match. Like our town code and the signs that are on the street don't match. I know.
Where, you pick and choose what who's going to do, or does somebody have to complain about the trucks? Do I have to complain about the cars that are parked the wrong way on Lincoln and pull out facing the median lane when you're trying to go down Lincoln? Are those the types of things that we're gonna have to do? Or are we gonna specify that these trucks are not allowed anywhere? And that's why if you're only specifying that they're not allowed on Lincoln, you're really not doing the town any.
Right. So again, I thank you for pointing that out. We will double check that through legal to make sure that we're covered in all of the ways regarding trucks on Franklin and the other small side streets. We'll double check that and make sure that legally we're covered, and we'll make sure that we coordinate regarding enforcement now that this is being clarified, because again, what's written on paper and what's written on signs do not match. And so that's part of why we have to do this, so that we can get everything lined up and matching. We don't want to be a community that only enforces the rules when people complain. So just so you know, we've heard that, right? That's not what we're trying to do here. So we appreciate your comments. And that's all I have to say about the ordinance.
Thank you, Laura. Jim, did you want to comment?
Yeah, and some thoughts. I'd spoken with Mr. Bell as well. In his address to us last week, he had talked about some of the math of, the financial impact on the fuel and that for all of his trucks, extrapolating that out over the course of a year, et cetera. I think you had said something like 165,000 was a top end ballpark.
5 to 165.
In talking to Mike Barry, it sounds like the work that would be done on Lincoln Street to get everything the way we want it to be, all those proposed changes, likely would take place 2028 by spring, summer. Michael, is that what you were indicating? So we have a little bit of time there. What if, on the motion and the second, would you be open to a friendly amendment to amend section 4 affecting on the effective date? And instead of being taking place right away and then having a year and a half or almost 2 years before we actually take action on Lincoln Street, and change that to an effective date of September 1st, 2027. That would give Mr. Bell, LA Bell Company, 1 year to adjust their pricing, to try to absorb those costs, to offset those a little bit. It would give us a year to get all our signs and the other things we have to do to make that work. get all our ducks in a row, allow him to make his adjustments with the trucking company, and then have it be in place well ahead of when we would start work or anything like that. So I want to throw that out. If that's anything that would be acceptable as a friendly amendment.
Kelly, did you want to say something or?
No, I
Okay.
don't wanna
So
amend
where I'm at with it
my
is,
second.
I've already talked with Jamie about ordering the signs. It's gonna take a little while for her to get the signs and get everything lined up correctly. I feel, what I would like to see is that we would get all the signs, get everything in line, and we would start enforcing this January 1st, 2027.
So there'd be a little bit of grace.
So there's, I'm granting a little leeway in here to make sure we're all in alignment. The police are aware of the changes, that everybody on board, everybody knows where we're at then.
So go into effect.
So that's what I feel would be to add to section 4 would be that it would be implemented, it would go into effect on January 1st, 2027.
I'd be willing to amend my motion to amend the effective date, January 1st, 2027. That's fine
Yeah.
with me.
I'll amend mine,
Your second.
January 1st, 2027.
Okay. Is there any other further discussion?
I had just a follow-up question for Mr. Bill, if that's all right. It's only gonna be about 4 months. That's a little bit of time. It's better than what we have, is it?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that then.
All right, thank you. I thank everybody for their input on it and their research. Thank you, Mr. Bell, for appearing today and at our previous meeting and taking the time to meet with us during the week.
For your consideration and time as well.
Thank you. Corinne, do you want to take a vote for us?
Do we have to do a formal vote on the amendment, or is that just by consensus? Is that?
They agreed to amend, so they amended
Okay,
the original
perfect.
second.
So we're good.
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Laura Madigan? Yes. Don Kraft?
Yes.
James Burge?
Yes.
Kelly Kierman?
Yes.
Bill Lopez?
Yes. All right, ordinance 2026-11 is passed. Move on to ordinance 2026-12. This is the second read also, an ordinance of the town of Porter, Indiana, amending and restating chapter 2, article 7 of the town code regarding public records, fees, commercial use and restrictions, compliance with House Enrolled Act 1360. This is our second read on this. This is just to help Corinne when she gets these requests for paperwork, Freedom of Information Act.
Yes, and if I may just make a quick comment on this, I feel like I didn't really make it clear at the last meeting when I talked about it. But the portion of the ordinance that talks about charging $25 an hour to gather the records, that's not for our local residents, that's not for Indiana residents, that's for out-of-state residents or out-of-state entities that are looking to get records for commercial purposes. So, happy to answer any questions if anybody has any further about it.
Okay, I look for a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-12.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any questions regarding ordinance 2026-12? Hearing none, Corinne, we'll call roll call vote, please.
Laura Madigan?
Yes.
Don Kraft?
Yes.
James Burge?
Aye.
Kelly Kierman?
Yes.
Bill Lopez?
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 2026-12 is adopted. Move on to ordinance 2026-13. An ordinance of the town of Porter, Indiana, amending salary ordinance 2025-12, fixing compensation for town employees, officers, and officials for the year of 2026. This corrects some of the salary and also establishes the position to pay for the position, the, police clerk. I'd look for a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-13.
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second.
Who are we giving that to?
We'll give it to Ken.
We'll give it to John. Don,
Okay, okay.
All right, Don. Thank you.
you gotta be quick on your buzzer. dude. Are there any questions regarding ordinance 2026-13? Hearing none, Corinne, would you call roll call vote again, please?
Laura Madigan,
Yes.
Don Kraft,
Yes.
James Burge,
Aye.
Kelly Karaman,
Yes.
and Bill Lopez.
Yes. 2026-13 is adopted. Move on to new business resolution 2026-05, authorizing the extension of the declaration of local disaster emergency. I briefly discussed this with the attorney. I think that maybe we should extend it for 2 more weeks till our next meeting. Just in the event too, to help us with, if we are gonna be reimbursed for anything through FEMA and so on.
Yep.
I think would be the
Yeah.
best practice.
Yeah, and it continues some of the flexibility needed, and particularly here in Public Works updates, so that anything that it might be helpful in that process, it continues that flexibility.
And we're not done with cleanup yet, so we don't even have a total yet.
And along that line too, I do want to say, if there's any residents out there that need help, please contact Town Hall or somebody, your council member, and we'll try to find somebody, a volunteer group or somebody to come help you clean up your residents if they're in need
Yeah.
still. So,
And don't forget to report through 211.
right, get and report all the damage to 211, sure, definitely, because that just helps to us, the town in itself with the,
It helps everything. It helps the resident that makes the complaint. It helps the town. It helps the county. It helps the state. It helps the feds calculate
Because
the
they s-
total amount of damage.
Right.
So
they
211
see
is so important.
total devastation. So I look for a motion to adopt resolution 2026-05, authorizing the extension of declaration of local disaster emergency.
I'll make that motion. And I'll thank you again for taking that responsibility.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a motion and a second. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval of the resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Move on, Abanon Marsh Task Order 001-2027 CMG Passer and AMP update. That's for what you're just talking about?
That's for next year. So the state has changed that to you submit in September. It's gonna be that way every year.
Okay.
So basically, you get it approved in September, then you go out to bid and can start in the spring. So that's to put together our asset management plan. That's what AMP means. Asset management plan pays the ratings and put together the submittal. And then I'm gonna meet with Matt tomorrow, 11:30. We're gonna put together a list. After, I haven't talked to John yet, but after looking at it, I think we'll go through the lowest rated streets. It's probably gonna be starting over in Michigami area. Just, you know how those roads are, so. We'll probably, I talked to Bill about it. I think that's probably the lowest rated and they've waited the longest to get some of those horrible streets done. Part of that will include stormwater upgrades, which we can do with our 20% and their 80% match, so. And we've scaled this back to 100,000 match and a total of 500, so we scaled back to meet our budget, but. Yeah, so, and we'll do the same thing we did this year. We'll have Public Works do the inspections. That was
Right.
beyond fantastic, so that went really well.
Saved us some money, plus.
Saved us money, and they did a much better job, so
Right.
very happy with that.
What percentage are you thinking of scaling it back next year? I want to say off the top of
Well,
my head,
that-
this year we paved
That's
maybe
half,
30%.
that's half of what we
planning
used
on.
to do. So we used to do 200 match,
Yeah.
which was
So we're doing
800,000 because it was 25%.
Right.
So now with the 20%, we do 100 match, we're doing 500,000 worth.
Two and a half.
So it's what we did this year, and actually we were lower than that because we did a street where Chesterton reimbursed us. So
Mhm.
we're even lower with that this year, but these will be, this is
half.
what we budgeted in
Yeah.
the whole thing. So it's about half our normal match, but since it's 20%, a little bit more paving. And we'll keep it that way for a few years till we see where till we see where revenue comes from.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay.
All right, I look for a motion to approve admin on Marsh task order 001. It had not to exceed 7,000, didn't it, Adam? Mike?
Yep.
I'll make that motion.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion, second. Any questions for Mike regarding the motion, the task order? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, fire department purchase request, ladder truck graphics. Jay.
Hello
what's
again.
up? What do you want to put on there, some flames or something, or? some-
No, nothing crazy. So this would be for the door logos, the striping, and the ladder banner. So the ladder banner's what is just a blank black spot on the ladder, which would be all identified, Porter Fire Department, all that stuff. And then the option of the rear logo, which is a standard on what we put on the other trucks, which is just our logo, Porter Fire Department logo that goes on the back that's reflective. The door logos are $630.80 through McIntyre Signs. The striping is $530 through Signature. The ladder banner is $730 through Signature. Net total is $1,890.80. The rear logo, if we choose to do that, is an additional $400. Typically, our practice of what we've done with logoing or striping our vehicles when we do it outside of the manufacturer, the Incorp pays the installation on those. That's what they've always done with the Chiefs trucks, and they've done in the past with the other things when we re-striped. And to my understanding, that's what they're going to do this time. We usually have a guy that does it on the side.
So the total, you are doing the back?
I would like to,
400,
for
so
the
the total
400, it would make everything the same.
So that would make it
$2,290.80.
Okay, and it paid out of?
That would be up to you guys.
Bond proceeds.
You still got a little, there's a little bit left?
Yeah.
Okay,
After the plow.
yeah,
After the plow, yes,
Okay, just want to make sure we get the plow
all
on.
right.
yeah, there's enough. I mean, once this is approved, I can have a final number of what's left in the fund, but I don't anticipate the cost of the plow to be more than the truck, so it should be good.
Okay, I look for a motion to approve the purchase of the 4 decals for 2290.80, paid out of the remaining funds from the bond.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion second. Any questions for Jay regarding the motion?
When do we get the spinning rims?
Spinning rims? I left those out. I was afraid to ask for
No
that.
spinners? When do we get to,
That's what
everyone wants to go
happens
for
when we have
riding that thing, I
back
think. All right, no further questions. All in favor of approval, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Striper up.
Thank you.
That's all we have. Council comments? Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a couple. Most all of them stemmed from our NERC meeting this past week. A number of things. One, since we're in the throngs of our budget cycle, and it's always been a challenge for all of our department heads, and where do we find money for a lot of the things, both for what's already on the list as well as things that are not on the list or we didn't put on the list because we didn't think we could come up with money. I had the Lake Charles thing with the parks in mind from our last meeting when I went to NERC. So I asked Ty Warner, the executive director, if he could identify the folks that have their hands on all of the grants, all the funding mechanisms that NERC has at their disposal, and to see if they would be willing to come to town hall here to, during our budget time here before everything's finalized, to be able to do questions and answers of all our department heads, all the council members, any other interested, Porter residents, and they have agreed to do that. They indicated they could be here on Monday, September 21st, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Tom Vanderwood is the person that handles all monies that deal with the things with transportation. They'll bring Kathy Luther, who oversees all things economic development related. And then there's one other person, I didn't catch her name, but she'll be with economic or environmental type things. So we'll have three there to pick their brains of where the funding is, the deadlines for funding, the criteria, all those things that you would have questions on, the amount of funds that are available. Plus, just because they live in that realm on a day-to-day basis, even if it's not NERC related, they may know of others that have access to funds that can help with any and all of our capital projects and other trail projects, et cetera. So they will be here on those dates and times. I'd like to check with Corinne, make sure we have space here. There's not another meeting we're conflicting with that you might know of.
Not, I'll double check, but I don't believe so.
Okay. If it's a smaller group, we can meet conference room. If we need bigger, we can just circle some chairs here and go from there. But so wonderful. I'll let them know. We're all thumbs up. Everybody's good with that? Okay.
Mike, you go with that one too? Or? Yeah, I think it'd be good, like you said, we get a list of everybody's capital projects and then we could probably just go right through them and they could tell you what funding might be possibly available for or
Absolutely.
not.
And timing and all that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly valuable meeting. Thank you for setting that up. I already
Absolutely.
checked my work schedule. I'm not available, but I took the liberty of inviting Russ Irwin, our RDC president, told him about that date and time so that at least someone from RDC would be there for that meeting as well. So that's right. I forgot you were still here. So thank you for setting that up.
Sure. And I'm sure if anybody can't make it, we'll make sure we have all their contact information so you can have private one-on-one discussions as well. Second item that came out was actually it was involved with the truck route discussion and reaching out to the business owners. I reached out to Jackie Perkins, president of Porter State Bank, and the topic came up of what we could do to beautify, if at all possible, the strip of land between Lincoln Street and the first railroad track, which I believe is Norfolk and Southern. She has an interest from the business community side. She's reaching out to all the businesses along Lincoln Street to have them come together for kind of a brainstorming session. I would like to invite anybody from our boards that would like to be involved. I was thinking maybe our former sign committee. We seem to get a lot of stuff together, and everybody on that committee I think would have a vested interest. And Kelly, if you want to, since you're on that, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Or anybody else, I mean, just let me know. But that way we have the town's perspective, we have the business's perspective, and then see where it goes from there. The biggest crux or obstacle we know of so far is the railroad itself, not knowing where their rights of way are, making sure that they would not be adversarial in the process. To that end, I also spoke with Ty Warner at NERC and also Kevin Brightsky, who's Porter County surveyor, but he's also on the executive board of NERC. Both have previous dealings with Norfolk and Southern, so they have a lot of contacts at the corporate level, so they can quickly identify who we need to speak with that would have a vested interest and have some authority there. They haven't gotten those names to me yet, but I'll have them by the time we have that meeting. And have that discussion. It'll be a little weird because Union Pacific is in the process of acquiring Norfolk and Southern, so that could all change. But we don't
bring that up.
We don't know what the time frame is for that buyout and et cetera. But at least if we have those connections with the existing owner now, that would probably aid us in whoever the future person from Union Pacific may be. So we'll try to get all those folks together and see what, if anything, can come of it, and maybe it can help spruce up that opposite side of all the work that we're going to be doing on Lincoln Street. That meeting is September 9th at 10 a.m. here at Town Hall. The last item I had was in that meeting, we have not only the 50-plus communities of Northwest Indiana represented there, but we also had various agencies there, including INDOT. So I asked Adam Parkhouse and Matt Detchley, Deputy Commissioner of the LaPorte region, which is we're a part of, and tell them the situation we have with the power being out, the lights being out, accidents, et cetera. And I said, is there anything that's changed, anything that we might be able to do to help that situation? And in that course of that conversation, Adam indicated that, in fact, whether it's a change or whatever, how we got to that point, I don't know, but it sounds like there is an opportunity for us to take control of those stoplights. There's a key that they can issue to the town that controls the control box for each stoplight. And with that, in the quick conversation I had with Adam, it sounded like we have the ability to override it to turn it to a 4-way blinking red. I asked him today if he could send us something to help, clarify, just to make sure that, I didn't phrase something wrong or he didn't hear something different, to make sure we were on the same page. He hasn't been able to do that yet, but I specifically asked him, with the power being out, is there anything we could do? And that was his solution. So if we want to designate, the thing would be they would have to designate, one department head to control that key.
Right. And you said too, it'll work without power for a certain amount of time, right?
That's that Adam told me, yeah.
Right.
I'd want him to confirm that with
Right.
whomever we designate to have that discussion with them and to get the key and that. But there would also be training involved, so whoever's doing it knows what to do in that switch box to do it the right way.
Right.
His main concern was that, because we also talked about putting up the 4-way signs, like other communities do, that right in the middle of the intersection, 4-sided box basically with the 4 stop signs on it. Just to make sure that if we do the stop signs in addition to that, that it's not left in the intersection when the stoplights are reactivated, because now you have conflicting things for the drivers. You could have a stop sign and a green light. Then we would be on the hook for
Right.
damages then that happened because we would have created the situation. So it's down to just the training and procedures. As long as we follow that, we'll probably be okay. Was it just we had in about a minute or 2 minute conversation just before the meeting started. So if we want to have Michael or somebody have that conversation with Adam and just reconfirm all that, and then
Right.
if we want to, if that's something we want to do as a council, to
No, I think-
to
I
get
think
that
you're in
key, that
agreement.
could help those situations where people are getting T-boned.
Right.
Yeah.
Opposed to doing nothing, I think that is, if there's a possibility we can do something, and that sounds like the solution.
It sounds to me like having the key and control of the control box is what will give us the opportunity to go ahead and put our own signs out and then remove them safely. And probably the thing that was stopping us from being able to do it before now. So I'm very happy and grateful to hear this news.
I am too. I do have a question. If it only controls it for so long when the power's out, what is that time frame? And what happens with the 4-way stop? Like, we were out without power 5-6 days. Is it going to work that long? And are we liable for that stop sign in the dark if somebody nails it? And so that's my concern, is liability. And I would want to check with our liability insurance or whatever, to make sure if power's out 5-6 days,
Yep.
That's a good
how long is
question.
it really gonna
Right, because I
last?
think
Yeah.
the battery,
Okay.
it seems like, it
Yeah.
sounds like it's on battery back.
That's what it
it's
sounds
gonna-
like, yes.
And how long will a battery last? That's my concern, and then what happens with that stop sign,
Yep.
right? So if we could find that out first, and then we'll go from there.
Whoever we want to engage Adam, that would be the perfect questions to get all that information together.
Is there any, did you
John,
have
did you
anything,
want to-
John?
Yes, please, do not get us involved with state highway, 4-way stop signs. We almost got cremated out here on Highway 20 in Tremont, cleaning rock out of the road. Now, if the police officers have an issue on 12 and they have it blocked down, we don't mind helping out getting that road back open. But there's not enough SWAT cars in this town to cover 5 lanes of a highway and have 2 guys out there dragging.
Right.
I mean, I'm not dying for people's non-common sense. I mean, so
True that, sir.
so Chesterton just had this incident when the storm hit.
Mhm.
All their lights down Indian boundary went out.
Yeah.
So we're still gonna be liable because we're gonna put signs out there. But I don't wanna have to tell Ethan's family or Nathan's family that your dad died because the general public didn't know that out light means 4-way stop automatically. So
Right.
this is a big issue in all towns at this point. I mean, we've heard from 149 to 249. If our sewers are out, who's putting those signs out? Because all of our manpowers are sitting on
It's-
our sewer.
Especially with the lift
So,
stations.
yeah, I really, the whole getting out in the middle of the highway.
Are we gonna put a ladder truck out there and block that whole road?
Hey,
I almost got hit at 20 Waverly with the fire truck, my truck, and 2 squad cars picking nails out of the intersection, and a woman didn't want to stop, and she almost took my head off.
I'll be more than happy to share the foreman's at Chesterton's unit cell phone number, and feel free to call him and get his crews out there. He's a really good guy. He responds to his phone calls. So, I mean, I'm asking not to put our workers in that situation.
If the lights can be turned to flashing red both ways, that may take care of it, because
You don't need
that's a
sign
stop
on the
anyway.
light,
We
yeah.
don't need the
Let me
sign.
find out how long the battery lasts, because
Yeah.
this isn't unusually long.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's find out how long
It
the
is.
battery lasts
Yeah.
and if we
And do
can
we
just-
even need the four-way stop signs, right?
Right.
If we can change it
It
to
doesn't use a lot of
blinking,
power to blink
at
the
all,
lights. I mean,
then we
people
don't need the
ask for
stop
it.
sign, and I wouldn't wanna risk anybody's life doing it, right?
One
And
of the-
picking it up.
Just a suggestion, and I don't
Sure.
know, DOT's regulations on this. I'm sure by the size of the intersection, it might not be feasible. But instead of going out inside the middle of the intersection to put those 4-way stops out, I've seen the half stop signs that fold up.
Yeah.
They're mounted to the pole itself, and then they drop down, and now they're exposed. So that's
Oh.
just an option to look into as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to, so that has to be approved through NDOT. NDOT would have to install them signs because it's on their right of way. Because it has to be
Yep.
a certain size. So
Okay.
that'd be something, I mean, and
like that.
that's something that our guys would be able, I mean, again,
Yeah.
as the sewers run, we can go and take the padlock off, fold them down. But to ask one of our guys to take a heavy 4-way thing out in the middle of an intersection.
But I love the flashing light anyway.
Yeah.
I love that there's a key, it's got a battery, let's start there.
Yeah. Sure, Jennifer.
NDOT has the rule say that you can't put the signs out after a certain period, right? Okay. Everybody up here knows, state senators, state representatives, contact somebody and get them to change the law.
I did actually send an email to Rodney Pohl and to Chuck and also Randy
Yeah, and.
about that
remember-
specific event. I don't have an answer back from them yet, but I also knew that it would take them a while to get us an answer back.
Yeah,
So-
but one thing too, remember, they have to have the draft bills done before the first week of December for the previous year. So anything they want to or need to put out for next year's, regardless for next year's legislative session, they have to have it done in writing before December 1st. So basically, contact them immediately after the election and get them, you have to do that, because otherwise, they're gonna have to try to stick it in this amendment somewhere, and it's just easier to have it get done, put it on.
Yeah, I believe at the legislative level, there's gonna be several additions and amendments made just because of the storm for
Yeah.
many different reasons.
Yeah, and that's what they're there for, and I know Rodney listens, Chuck listens, I know people at ways to listen, I have a friend who's friends with Charbonneau, and she says, yeah, she does listen, it just, he didn't always listen to everybody that talked to him. But anyway, long story short, that's the best way, the easiest way to do it is change the law.
Right, good point, Jennifer, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Point taken.
So, the only other thing I do wanna say is, everybody did a stand-up job. We're gonna sit down, I think, in a couple weeks with all the department heads and anybody else who wants to get involved and kind of just go over what we did right and what we could improve on, or what we were lacking, for better words to say. I mean, we did find some, things that nobody thought we were ever gonna be in this situation, and so we're more prepared in the event it ever does happen again. So I'll ask everybody to kind of make a list of what they think, and not just for your department, but what, you see maybe on another department, and we're all gonna be real constructive and try to get a better plan.
Yeah.
Not that we're bad, but we can be
We
better.
can always do better.
Always room for improvement.
Yep. That's all I got. Anything else?
No.
With that, I look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
You can adjourn, thank you.
Hey, Mike, I've got a development standards question.